Hello, okay, so today we're going to start a series, first of the series, called Hack the Mac with ABC. That's AppleScript, Bash and Cocoa. And we're only going to use tools that are on your Mac already. And the first tool that we're going to use is the one that you can see is called a terminal. If you go to your Applications Utilities folder, you'll find it there, or you can just type it in Spotlight and that'll find it too. Or I suppose you could do Launchpad. In any case, open up the terminal. You'll probably find yours is white at the background, and you can just go into the preferences and change it to whatever you like. And you might want to change your font size to something a bit more suitable, depending on whether you got old man's eyes like me or not. So anyway, once we're set up, here we are. And the first thing you're going to want to do whenever you're thinking about hacking a Mac, or indeed any computer, is finding out a little bit about the environment. So how are we going to do that? Well, first thing we're going to do is ask a question: who am I? And this tells you the current user, which in this case, and probably in yours, will be yourself. Once we've got that user's name, we can find out a little bit more about it, about that user, by putting in ID and the username, and that'll give you all this garbage. You don't need to worry about most of this for our purposes. We just want to know, is the user an administrator or not? Have they got administrator privileges? And we might at this point just want to make some notes about what we're finding out. So we know the user is called sphil, and we can see he's an administrator. And we might also keep his UID. I'll probably explain that in another video, but we'll just keep that for now. The UID is that first entry there. Alright, so I know a little bit about this user. I'm going to find out some more about the user shortly, but before I do that, I want to find out a little bit about the computer. And you can do that by using the command sw_vers. Let me just show you that again, because what you can actually do here, if I just type, I might not be able to remember the name of the command, right? I might just be able to remember what it begins with. So if that's the case, I can hit the tab button twice and it'll give me all the commands that begin with those letters. If there's only one command that begins with those letters like this, then I only need to type that much and hit tab once and it'll complete it for me, and that's actually what I just did before. So either way, I found out that the computer is, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it into my stickies, wherever that's gone, is on El Capitan, or 10.11.5. The next thing I want to know is, let's just keep my stickies on top actually, floating window, Option Command F will keep that window on top. Next thing I want to know is, where am I? And I want to say, where am I? I mean, when you're on the command line, you're actually always located somewhere within the computer's environment. It's a bit like when you open the Finder, you're always located within a folder, or you're always looking at the rest of the information from some particular folder. When you're in the terminal, you normally start out in the user's home folder, but you need to make sure that you are where you think you are, and you do that by typing pwd. pwd stands for present working directory, in other words, where am I? And if I want to move around, like in the Finder, you'd click stuff and it takes for ages, you know, it's really slow to move around in a Finder compared to the command line. If I want to move around, I use the command cd and then I type the path. So if I want to look at the root of this drive, which I do, or the root of this Mac I should say, all I need is a /, and if I type that and I do pwd again, you'll see I'm now at the root level of the drive, or the Mac. And once I'm there, I can now start having a look around what's in there. ls, which you can think of as short for list, or list the contents of the location that you're in. And you can see, okay, applications, network system, yeah, what I'm really interested in here is users, because I want to know who else is a user on this Mac and how many users there are. So if I do cd users, that will change me into that direction, that directory. If I do my ls again, you can see it. Let's just move this up a bit. I'll clear this in a second. You can just see I've got a number of users there. So I might just copy those guys as well and put these up here. Users. Alright. Now, when I've been using ls so far, I've actually just been using the base form of it, but there's lots of actually powerful versions of uses of ls. And the one I like most is this one, ls alf. AL, that's a capital F on the end, and there's just a hyphen at the beginning of it, because that actually gives me a much more detailed view. It also shows me some things that are hidden as well, so you wouldn't see these in the Finder, for example. And if I'm looking for hidden files or something like that, or some things that somebody's trying to disguise as something else, this is a good way to do it. This will tell me things like the D here tells me it's a directory. I'll go into this in another video. These are the permissions. We'll worry about those later. And when you do ALF, actually the easiest way to tell it's directory is whether it ends with a slash, because that also tells you, okay, this is a directory. That doesn't end with a /. Okay, one more command before we move on. As you can see, my screen is getting pretty full up. I'm going to use the clear command, which just gives me kind of like a new page. I haven't actually lost all that other stuff. It's up here, look, but it basically just clears the screen and starts me a bit lower down, kind of like starting a new page. Okay, so I know who my users are. What I want to know is, what have these users been doing on this Mac? Who was the last person to log in? When have they been logging in? How long were they logged in? That kind of stuff. Now I can get all that information with just one command, and the command is last. So if I just hit last, you'll see I get a long list of stuff. If I go to the top of it, let's move my stickies out of the way. It's time ordered from the most recent at the beginning. So you can see the most recent person to log in was in fact myself, and I'm still logged in, and it tells you the date and the time when I logged in. And you can see there's a whole load of other users here, some of those ones identified before, and it tells me when they logged in and stuff. And actually this history goes back, well, it'll go back as much history as is recorded. It's only a few days in this particular case. But let me clear this again. Just getting everything like that is, that gets you the whole lot. That's okay. But you're normally gonna probably have more specific questions that you might want to answer, or you might want answers to. So you can make last do stuff like, okay, just show me the last 5 logins. That's a little bit more easy to manage. Or you might want to say something like, show me the last time, let's pick one of these guys, iMac Kim logged in. Well, actually show me all the logins for iMac Kim. So here, this user, I get to see all the times they've logged in, all the dates and how long they were logged in for. So that's very useful. Something else that you can do with last that's also very useful is you might want to know when was the Mac last started, when was it last booted, and you can get all the boot times by saying last reboot. So here's a summary of all of those. And similarly, you can find out when it was last shut down by going last shut down. So just with these commands, I might want to copy some of this stuff into my stickies or whatever, but just by using some of these commands, type them up here for you, like who am I? Let's just put commands here. Who am I? CD for changing directory. SALF. I'll make this bigger in a minute so you can see it. List all contents. Let's just put this up here. Can just do this with Command Plus or not? Yeah, I can. Good. CD, LSF, what else did we look at? SWVers, hang on, there's a couple up here. ID and username to find out that stuff. SWVers to find out the software version. Users ID I'll put for now. What else did we look at? Clear the contents of the page, and some various last commands. Last 5 should be obvious what that does. Last username, just tell me what that person's been up to, tell me when it was booted and when it was shut down. Alright. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it.